Emphasizing the home and home video, many people claim the video revolution brought privacy to movie watching. After all, you no longer had to wear a rain slicker to an adult theater. But how private was it really?
A man brings me a VCR and he says, I have to get this tape out. I said, okay, leave it with me. He said, no, you don't understand. I gotta get this tape out now. You gotta promise me you won't tell nobody what was in there. I said, well, why would I tell anybody what was in there? Turned out this guy was a preacher. And he had a tape in there that probably shouldn't have been in there, but he was sure worried I was going to tell everybody in Macon what was in that VCR.
Everything was done on paper.
And it was a cash business.
Everything was done on paper.
And it was a cash business.
But even if your local video store didn't keep a computer database, and most didn't in the early days, it doesn't mean there wasn't a record of your viewing habits. Video watching left more of a paper trail than viewing TV or going to the movies did in previous decades.
I don't know who Terry Nichols is, to be honest with you. And if you jog my memory, maybe I'll remember.
Fred Olen Ray directed a movie entitled Armed Response, and the press discovered and made a big deal of the fact that Terry Nichols rented the film on the day of the deadly Oklahoma City bombing in 1995, an act of terrorism that Nichols had conspired on.
I think that the episode with Terry Nichols points to the cumbersomeness of the law itself, because if you can get the information, you're going to write about it. If you can't get the information, you can't write about it. The law does not prescribe how to protect the information, it just says protect the information.
And what law is this exactly? Why, the VPPA of 1988.
That stands for Video Privacy Protection Act. It's a law that was passed by the United States Congress. The reason that act came into being is me. Congress passed the law to protect video customers' privacy. That is, the privacy of the records kept by video rental stores of what people rented to watch at home. It was passed in 1988 because in 1987, I wrote an article for Washington City Paper about Judge Robert Bork, who at the time was up for consideration as a member of the United States Supreme Court. Judge Bork and I were not acquainted, although we both rented videos at the same store. And my friend Dan said his daughters, who were teenagers, saw Judge Bork at the video store, and they were wondering what Judge Bork and his family rent. And he told me later that he could see the thought balloon forming over my head. I went to the city paper offices and I said to my editor, Jack Schaefer, I'm thinking about doing a story about Judge Bork's videotape rentals because he's up for consideration for the Supreme Court, and one of the issues is privacy. There was no way that it was against the law for me to get Judge Bork's videotape rentals and write about them. I walked into the video store and I said to the assistant manager, I was thinking about writing a story about what Judge Bork rents. What do you think? And the manager sort of giggled and said, that'd be pretty cool. The manager goes upstairs, comes back and says, there are a lot of them. Is it okay if I make a Xerox? I did not look at them. I stuffed them into my shoulder bag and got out of the store as soon as I can and got on the bus to get home. And I was thinking while I was riding on the bus home, what if he's a Jack Wrangler fan? For what if it's slasher movies? Good God. Well, it turns out that he liked Alfred Hitchcock and he liked James Bond. There was a rush to judgment in Congress after the story broke out, because I can only imagine that the ladies and gentlemen of Capitol Hill were thinking, oh, that time I rented X, Y, and Z, and what if the local paper got a hold of it?